And we will remember them. Plans are unveiled to commemorate the centenary of the start of the First World War. More details with Mary Nightingale and me at 6:30.
Thanks, Alistair. And it's to those commemorations that we turn to now, and people in the southwest are being encouraged to organise events ahead of the centenary.
ITV cameras have today travelled with school children from Corsham in Wiltshire to Belgium to pay tribute to the millions who died. Our Wiltshire reporter Robert Murphy has the story.
It's a wall with lots of people's names on it, and what can we see?
In their classroom, for these 13 and 14-year-olds, it's hard to truly comprehend the Great War. Hard to comprehend what horrors the men, not much older than themselves, faced in the trenches and battlefields of Europe. More than 1 million men from the UK, the British Empire and the Commonwealth died. But what does that sacrifice, decades ago, mean to youngsters today?
Most of all, I feel sorry for the people who didn't have a choice towards the end of the war. I also feel sorry for the families of people who've been forced to go to war.
They should be remembered because they've done a lot for us, so we should be grateful for what they've done.
It shouldn't be forgotten, because if you forget about it, then really they died for nothing.
Today, those same children travel to Ypres in Belgium to pay their respects to the fallen and to see for themselves the Meningate Memorial to 55,000 who died, whose remains were never recovered.
And welcome back. Now, David Cameron has outlined a programme of national commemorations to mark the centenary of the start of the First World War. He wants a series of events that will touch every part of the country in 2014, along similar lines to the Queen's Diamond Jubilee.
And despite tough economic times, he insisted it was absolutely right for the government to pledge £50 million toward the events. He said it was vital the country did not forget the immense sacrifice made by an earlier generation.
Our duty towards these commemorations is clear: to honour those who served, to remember those who died, and to ensure that the lessons learned live with us forever, ever. And I think that is exactly what we can do with these commemorations.
As part of an educational legacy, the Prime Minister also said that £5 million will be available to make sure that children from every secondary school in Britain will be able to visit the First World War battlefields. Our Europe correspondent Emma Murphy reports from Ypres.
If I should die, think only this of me, that there is some corner of a foreign field that is forever England.
In the biggest Commonwealth military cemetery, the children of Corsham School in Wiltshire listen to poems and try to take in the enormity of the First World War. For all the lessons little can prepare for the scale of the Tynecock graveyard near Ypres, row after row of headstones, some with names, some without, all victims of the Western Front.
If these children were born a century ago, some would have been fighting in these old regiments in a year or two's time. Some discoveries today brought it all home.
Yeah, there. And who's that? That's my, I think it's one of my relatives, and it's got almost the same initials as mine.
I just feel sorry for them. They haven't experienced anything. Just given their lives in the war, aged some 15.
I feel quite upset actually, because you can never really picture how many people have actually died.
Looking at poetry and diary entries and paintings is extremely important, and it really enriches their understanding, but physically bringing them here allows them to reflect and contemplate the scale of the conflict, which is really hard to get across in the classroom actually. Just how many is evident across the Belgian countryside. Proud, neat graveyards to honour a war that was anything but. A war where hundreds of thousands died or were forever damaged in these fields and their trenches, amid the wail of cannon shells and stutter of rifles.
In seeking to encourage more children to come to cemeteries like this, the Prime Minister hopes that he will be able to create in a future generation a better understanding of the consequence of battle and sacrifice.
£5 million is being set aside. Those who take trips now hope it will allow more to go along.
The demand to go on the trip still far outstrips our ability to take that many children over, so
It's fantastic news.
There are now no surviving fighters of the so-called Great War, but it will be remembered a century on.
No name known unto God.
Yeah. As the 100th anniversary of the First World War approaches, trips like this are part of the government's strategy of remembrance.
I think it'll be a great opportunity for people to experience this place and to know how many people actually gave their lives in war.
When you're taught it in the classroom, you don't really believe it until you see it, and today when we all turned up and saw the graveyard, we were just surprised by how many there were here.
Marking the anniversary is an attempt to ensure subsequent generations never forget them. They don't need an anniversary here at the Menin Gate to remember the fallen. As you can see, they're already gathering for this evening's wreath laying and the playing of the last post. I've been speaking to old soldiers and young school children alike here about the plans to commemorate the 100th anniversary, and they are united in one view, that it is an opportunity for people to learn more, to understand more about the nature of war, and also realise just what all those who served did for their country all those years ago, and indeed did for all of us.